How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 8. Ignore this one. Ignore that. I'm trying to jump the gun on too many things. Well, not too many, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what fragments we can enter and which ones we can't, because it's a little vague here and there as to which ones we can go into. Plus, I'm very forgetful. So, in the last episode, we learned that Rika's father actually does know about the reality of the village, what's really going on with the syndrome, which has led Rika to volunteering to help with the research. So we have quote-unquote help from the queen, if you will. So what does that leave us with? I don't think anything here on this page. I mean, I do have questions beginning to be raised about what's really gonna happen with Rika's parents. Looks like we can work on this one. When researching Hinamizawa syndrome, there is something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the Queen Carrier, the village will collapse. In his article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the Queen Carrier dies, all the infected persons will go terminal within 48 hours. This may sound unbelievable at first, but research on the collapse of past local religions and group suicides around the world should indicate that there's some truth to it. Among all the mysterious incidents in the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to Hinamizawa syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that are very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of entire communities losing their minds after the death of a religious leader or founder, and finally, annihilating themselves. He stated that on average it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that infected people are infected or affected by the Queen Carrier, and the condition of the Queen Carrier is in fact affecting the entire village. Our statistics already prove that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Rika being sick with a simple cold has a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, we'd be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. And that's why the IDA Institute has to protect Rika Furude, the Queen Carrier. It's the most important mission of the Hinamizawa Syndrome Research Project. She's already agreed to help us in our research, but we have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try to harm her. Her life is equal to the lives of 2,000 villagers. But what if something happens to her by accident? The IDA Institute must prepare for that situation, and that's why I worked on the draft of an emergency manual when the IDA Institute was first established. It's a precaution in case the Queen Carrier dies, or if infected people show acute symptoms due to the death of the Queen Carrier. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of the acute symptoms. The final measure is to prevent the damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas, making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They are used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a huge help. There's no way I could have come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. Through a dummy company, the Ground SDF has secured a closed quarry in the Yaguchi region upstream of Hinamizawa. It's to be the secret storage base for the equipment we'd use in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of the Ground SDF is to use this equipment to destroy the village. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So if I'm going to insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Hinamizawa syndrome is, and also how urgent the need is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove the need for the plan by showing them enough data. So the files my grandfather kept intact come in quite handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst-case scenario.
つまり、女王である一人の少女に何かがあれば、 村人2000人以上が全員錯乱するということなのですね。
はい。Hinamizawa症候群に極めて類似するいくつかのケースでは、集団自殺を示すものが少なくありませんが、Hinamizawa症候群の場合、強い疑心暗鬼や過剰なまでの危機意識から何かの過剰防衛を行う可能性があり、それらは無政府状態の暴動から始まり、猟奇的な、あるいは宗教的終末感にも似た異常な状況を作り出すでしょう。これに対する事前の鎮圧策を用意しなかった場合、世界の注目を浴びることは避けられません。また、その猶予は事態発生から48時間しかありません。
つまり、いざことが起こったらもう誰にも防げないということですな。
感染者全員を48時間以内に全員治療することは不可能なのかね？
But that's only if we have a treatment.
無理だろう。それに治療方法すら確立していないし、研究所の規模では村人全員の救済は物理的に不可能だ。
しかしこのような恐ろしく珍しい病気があるとは世の中わからんもんですな。
常に最悪の事態に備えることは国防にも通じますし、我々アルファベットプロジェクトの理念でもあります。そして使うことが目的なのではなく、備えることそのものが肝要なのです。
確かにおっしゃる通りですな。運用規定については決済区分の強化などまだ検討したいところはありますが、最悪の事態に対応する準備が必要だということは理解できました。
都市沈黙船の研究班にHinamizawa地区沈黙船のシミュレーションをさせましょう。これは至急行われる必要があると思います。
こうしている間にも女王感染者の少女が車にはねられて死んでしまう可能性だってあるのですから。高野さんさ、ありがとう。また質問しますので着席してくださって結構です。
Thanks to a push from one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It took me almost all day to explain it to them, but it only took a short time to come to a decision. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's articles out of hand. In the files they're all reading today are the very same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them and my grandfather's heart. But they aren't ridiculing the articles, they are reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is filled with satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other while pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. I've worked so hard for this day. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this? I can see it. I can see it very well. Okay, so now we know a little bit about the draft for the Rule 34 manual. So that's good to go. We can do one of the fragments. What else can we do here? Okay, we don't have the results. That Shirakawa Park accident, apparently that's supposed to be not Shirakawa. I think it's supposed to be somewhere in Hinamizawa. I think Shirakawa is the real life location that everything here is basically based on. Somebody in the comments threw that around. Let's see, what do we got here? Satoshi, we don't have that. An execution order, we don't have that. We don't have the bat. Prior consent for the collection of the cerebrospinal fluid. Maybe we can do this? Yeah, we can. The lights came on in the meeting room as the slideshow ended, and all the auditors began to applaud, praising the IDEA institution's dramatic accomplishments.
素晴らしい。実に素晴らしい。本音を言わせてもらえば、私はこのHinamizawa症候群の研究はあまり期待していませんでした。
仮に進むとしても、10年単位で3歩進んで2歩下がるような研究になると思っていました。
いやいや、それが短期間の間にこれだけの成果を上げられるとは、入江所長の努力と指導の賜物です。
そんなことはありません。私を支えてくださる優秀なスタッフと、そちらの高野さんのおかげです。
ご謙遜を。やはり脳に関しては入江所長は天才ですわ。何しろ 脳に関しては誰も及ばない実績をお持ちなのですから。
そうですな。あなたと同じ年の医者で、あなたほど大勢の脳みそをご覧になってきた方はおりますまい。
おめでとうございます、入江にさ。私もこれで東京に胸を張って報告に帰れます。
富武さんに良いお土産が持たせられて光栄です。あと、ニサというのはご勘弁を。どうしても馴染めませんので。というか、リサさんって聞こえるんですよね。
But Takano doesn't, right?
まるで女性の名前みたいに聞こえますね。
でも二郎さんも影の立役者ですわね。なかなか成果の出せない私たちの予算を二郎さんが懸命に努力して維持してくださったおかげですわ。
いやでも今回の成果は劇的です。hinamizawa症候群の病原体を特定し、今後の研究計画に具体的道筋をつけることができました。以後の進捗監査がとても楽しみになります。
これだけの成果があれば、東京はねちっこく予算を削減しろとは言いますまい。
何しろ皆さんにお出ししている缶コーヒーの予算まで削られそうになったんですものね。
Ha 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 ha.
富武君、東京にしっかり報告して祝杯が挙げられるくらいの予算はつけるよう愚信してあげなさい。
無知ばっかりではいかんね。飴もないとね。
その飴は予算で還元していただけると一番嬉しいのですが。
And with the congenial atmosphere, our routine audit was over. Irie was surrounded and being questioned by National Institute of Infectious Diseases workers who had joined the auditors.
高野さん、おめでとう。みんなの前では言えないけれど、今日の成果は全て高野さんの積み重ねによるものだよ。
ありがとう、二郎さん。
Jiro-san and I are the only ones here who know that strings were being pulled in order to create the Irie Institute. So only Jiro-san, goddamn, can understand what I had to go through.
でもこれでようやく研究の舞台に立てたというところね。私の挑むべき相手がようやく同じ土俵に上がってくれただけ。正念場はこれからよ。そしてここからが最も楽しいところになりそうだけど。
それでね、今回の件で中川本部長の方からぜひ東京で報告会をしてほしいと伝言をことづかってるんだ。アルファベットの理事会もぜひ君と会合を設けたいって言ってたよ。みんな君に直接話を聞いてみたいようだね。
あらあら、二郎さんを経由した報告じゃ物足りないのかしら。
いやそういう意味じゃないとは思うけどな。きっと噂の美人研究員を直接見てみたいんじゃないかななんて。
Wow, you are really making this awkward.
あら嫌だ、二郎さんったら。
失礼します、高野さんさ。東京からお電話です。
お待たせしました、高野です。
おお、元気にやってるかの。
小泉先生、
Aha.
わざわざお電話をいただけるなんてとても恐縮でございます。
いやな、みおちゃんの研究が大金星を挙げたという話が来てな、お祝いを言おうと思って電話したんだ。
ありがとうございます。はい、おかげさまで研究の第一段階であり最大の目標でもあったhinamizawa症候群の病原体特定に成功しました。
そうかそうか、ついにやったな、みおちゃん。天国で高野くんもきっと大喜びしているだろうの。
まだまだですわ。祖父はhinamizawa症候群の病原体特定などという段階を超えて研究していました。人の思想や意志が実は人以外の寄生的存在によって支配されていた可能性、それを暴いて初めて祖父の研究は偉業と称えられるのです。世界中の思想や宗教が すべて寄生虫で説明できたなら世界はひっくり返るくらいの大騒ぎになるでしょうね。
それは愉快だの。偉そうに振る舞っとる宗教家連中が単なる寄生虫の親玉に過ぎんと立証されたら、それは本当に愉快だろうの。ぜひそんな愉快なのを見せてくれ。みおちゃんがそれを見せてくれるまで、私は天国のお迎えを断り続けてるからな。
縁起でもありませんわ。でも楽しみにしていてくださいね。きっと世界中があっと驚く発表をしてみせますから。
Yeah, too bad he's gonna die before all that.
その時に初めて世界中が祖父の偉業を知り、祖父が残した資料を奪い合って読み合うことになるでしょう。そこまで至って私はようやく祖父への恩返しを終えるのです。
高野くんが羨ましいの。私はな、金なんかこんなにいらんかった。この半分は捨ててもいい。あんたみたいな自分の志を継いでくれる孫が一人いてくれたらと思うよ。
ありがとうございます。身に余るお言葉です。
あとな、小泉のおじいちゃんからのプレゼントだ。みおちゃん宛てにな、祝杯用のワインを1本送らせた。みおちゃんの家の住所がわからんかったから診療所宛てにしてある。取り寄せに手間がかかってるらしいからちょっと時間がかかるかもしれんが、届いたらみおちゃんの研究を手伝ってくれた人たちを集めてそれを振る舞ってあげなさい。
祝杯用にワインなんて。はてさて、小泉先生からどんな高級ワインが届くやら。
そんな高級酒と違う。みおちゃんも覚えとらんかね。高野くんがいつも1本のワインを大切にしておったの。
I remember. That's right, my grandfather kept a certain bottle of wine. I don't know if he bought it himself or if someone gave it to him, but he treasured it, and he always said he'd opened it when his research finally gained recognition. I was a child then, so I don't even remember what brand it was, but Mr. Koizumi would know. He went through all the trouble to find the same bottle of wine for this special occasion. For the first time in a while, Takano felt the same sunny warmth that she experienced during her time with her grandfather.
ありがとうございます、小泉のおじいちゃん。
やっぱりみおちゃんにはそう呼ばれた方がしっくりくるの。どうもみおちゃんに先生と言われても自分のことだと思えなくてな。
I can't help but smile along with him, because I think Tomitake and Irie were just having a similar exchange.
そう呼ばれる方がお好きでしたら、人前以外ではそう呼んでも結構ですわよ。
できれば人前でもそう呼んでもらえると喜ぶんだがの。
I don't know exactly how old he is, excuse me, but if he can laugh so energetically, he'll live for many more years to come. I guess the saying about living a long life is true after all.
私も高野くんもみおちゃんのような子が本当の家族だったらと思うよ。本当にな。
My grandfather had his own family, of course, but because he was so into his research, he became estranged from his wife. They were legally married, but they lived separately. I never met his family when I was a child. I only met them after my grandfather committed suicide, so he killed himself. During his latter years, my grandfather went into psychological despair and began to look at his life with cynicism. His condition became worse over time, and he was shocked by his own dementia. He was afraid of living while his consciousness degraded, so he jumped off the rooftop of the hospital. Only my name was in his suicide note. None of his family members' names were in it. And that's when all of his relatives showed up and took everything my grandfather left behind. They were afraid I was going to get his estate. They had lawyers and all that, so I backed down. I asked for everything in his study in return. Those idiots don't understand the value of my grandfather's research. They were actually happy to strike a deal out of court, and they could also get rid of the piles of paper and jars with human organs in them. They never even showed up once when he was alive, yet like hyenas, they appeared after his death. I'd never let them put their hands all over my grandfather's research. Fortunately, I was able to protect my grandfather's soul from their tainted hands.
それでは長くなると悪いから困ったことがあったら いつでもおじいちゃんに頼りなさい。孫娘のためにいくらでも一肌脱ぐからの。
ありがとう。小泉のおじいちゃん、ミオはもっともっと頑張りますね。
All right. So where does the fluid kind of come in? Was that a part of the presentation that they just need it and they showed some other stats or something? Because that was like not even brought up once in this whole fragment. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Oh, wait. Oh, it was a routine inspection. We needed prior consent for the collection of the fluid. God damn it. If only I would actually read the title of the fragment. What a fool. Okay, so he's not dead yet. He will be. I mean, it says it right there. Deja vu. Completion of the medicine. We're not there yet. Nobody has a high fever as far as I can tell. A bottle of wine for a toast. Tomotake's promise, and the draft of an emergency manual. So a roll of a 1. I think we can do this one. We can't do this one. God damn it. So Toмотake hasn't promised yet. We've got everything else, but we don't have the promise. I think maybe we can do this one. Depression of a Shinto priest. Yeah. The gathering place inside the Furude Shrine is in fact the headquarters of the Onegafuchi Guardians. Normally a shrine should be a calm and quiet place, but there are anti-dam signs everywhere, making it obvious, or very obvious, what this location has become. Yeah, we really are doing a lot of jumping around, aren't we? There are over 30 members of the Guardians here at the moment, and they are having a heated conversation about their plans for the future. Although this meeting place is on the Furude family's property, it's a community facility, so it's closed at 9 p.m. Of course, sometimes a discussion gets so heated that it goes on past closing time, but meetings are supposed to end by 9. If a discussion ends early, they usually chit-chat until that time. And that's what usually happens. Of course, they mostly talk about the dam, even when they chit-chat. They talk about someone's mistreatment at the government office, or someone getting arrested unjustly, or complain that people at the dam construction site are too violent. Since it's idle chatter, the topics are slightly emotional, and because of that, there was a good deal of bad-mouthing the Hojos.
そしたらさ、回覧板捨てちゃったとか言い出すんだよ。普通に考えてそんなことするかね。あそこの奥さんはさ、この間もさ、ゴミ置き場で牧野さんとこのばあさんとすんげえ口論してて。だいたいなんていうかね。本当に粗暴だよね、あそこのご主人は。理性がないというか。ああ、お前さんは地元説明会の時を見てないのかい？ありゃすごかったよ。あそこまで言うからにゃ、もう村にはおれんよ。さっさと出てけばいいのにさ。金がもらえないのどうのこうの。朝飯行ったりありゃしないね。いや。理性のなさで言ったら、あそこの奥さんも相当なもんだよ。
それで、やっぱり遺伝なのかしらね。あそこのお嬢さん、買い物によく見かけるんで挨拶するんだけど、向こうから挨拶は絶対に返さないのよ。だから私たちバカバカしくなっちゃって。以来、見かけても知らないふりしてんだから。
I don't know if that's true, and if it is, I wonder if one side of it is not seeing the other. Like Sodoko is maybe feeling like she's in a world of her own because guess what? She's in the high-ass stages, or getting into the high-ass stages of the syndrome.
それ言ったら、あそこの坊主も。
By now, the Hojo family has become the enemy of the whole village. Bad-mouthing the Hojo family was the greatest shared topic that anyone could easily contribute to. If he had known how powerful the three families were, especially the Sonozaki family, and if he had known Oryo-san's character, he wouldn't have said the things he did. The Hojo couple are residents here. Though they were never very enthusiastic about the council activities, they should have known what kind of person Oryo-san is. He could have imagined just what would have happened to him if he talked to her that way. Yet he let his anger take over and voiced his unpleasant feelings. So most people think the Hojo family brought their isolation upon themselves. If they wanted to negotiate with the government regarding the move, they should have done so privately. Yet he was foolish enough to express himself at a public gathering like that. So not too many sympathize with the Hojo family. Ever since the big fight at the explanatory meeting, the Sonozaki family has looked at the Hojo family as their enemy and started to go after them. That caused the other pro-dam families to go quiet, fearing they'd be made into the scapegoats too, and those who wanted to leave were bitterly forced to give up. Even those people started criticizing the Hojo couple, saying they could have gotten their compensation to leave if the two hadn't picked their reckless fight. Both the anti-dam and pro-dam people hate the Hojos now, and the family has become even more isolated. Moreover, the Hojos are both very aggressive. They should have stayed quiet at least until things settled down, but they didn't. That alienated the handful of people who took pity on them as well, so now nobody even says anything to them. All of that was immediately obvious by listening to the foul talk here and there at the gathering place. Rika always helps out by putting the teacups away, so I'm sure she hears what they say as well. One of the Hojo family members they're bad-mouthing is Rika's friend, Soroko-chan. It hurts to think about what Rika feels while hearing that. As priest of the Furude Shrine, should I let this continue? Oyashiro-sama is a god who makes peace between enemies. When the humans and demons fought, Oyashiro-sama descended from heaven and mediated between both sides. As the caretaker of this shrine, I must do something before it goes too far. I'm sitting next to Oryo-san, who is spitefully disparaging the Hojo family. My bad. Sometimes I rest my hand just a little too heavy on the right side of my mouse. The elderly people cheer her on as they listen to her speak. If I barge in now, I have a feeling it won't be a peaceful conversation. But I have to make up my mind. As the priest of the Furude Shrine, also for the sake of Rika's friend Soroko-chan.
お嬢さん、北条さんの悪口を言うのは、そろそろこれくらいにしませんかね。
なんで、何倍よりおるんかいな。
いや、北条さんもそんな悪気はなかったと思うんだが、あまりいつまでも尾を引くのはかわいそうだと。
しゃーらしいね。おめえあれを聞いちゃどんなすったらんわんとね。なあ、しゃーらしい。しゃーらしい、しゃーらしい。
Oryo-san is the head of the Sonozaki family, the heir to the demons. She never forgives anyone who stands against her, so there's no way she would even listen to what I'm trying to say. Oryo-san and the others became furious and refused to listen to me. I also mentioned that the dam construction plan will be cancelled soon, so they should calm down already. I said that because the staff at the Irie Clinic told me that the government is putting some kind of pressure on the Ministry of Construction. But thinking that I'm being an opportunist, soon criticism of me began to circulate the room. After that, I realized that I've become branded as a fence-sitter. If the demons are willing to listen, then there's a chance to make peace. But how can I make peace with people who refuse to listen? I destroyed their mood, so I just have to give up and shut my mouth. And then I feel a little hand on my back.
リカか、もう遅い時間だから家に戻っていなさい。
私たちがいくら努力しても届かない。
Rika looked into the distance while she spoke.
このよどみ切った村の悪兵は、そのよどみに住まう私たちにはどうしようもないのかもしれない。でも希望をなくすものか。今にきっとこいつらを打ち破ってくれる人がやってくる。今にきっと。
Her eyes shone as if seeing a future that only the maiden of the Furude Shrine could see. Well, I mean, she's not wrong. Keiichi will come around and he will break the mold. Sadako will be free from all this bullshit that the village throws at her and her family. She will literally be free. Praise God and all that. Okay, so what do we have open to us now? Not that. Not that. I think we're getting too far into the future here. So I don't think we're ready for any of this. So back on page 1 we go. Maybe we can do this now? Maybe? Probably not, though. I'm very unsure of what we can do next. Oh, you know what? Probably this one. Maybe. I don't know. Have we seen suspicion from Rika's mother? I'm not really sure about that one. I don't know if we're ready for the third sacrifice just yet. I don't think so. So maybe we can do this. We might be able to. That, or I'm thinking, just thinking. Let's see. Let us see. Maybe we can do disappointment. You see, while the death of Koizumi Sensei hasn't happened yet, we know that it's going to happen. It was kind of talked about in the second to last fragment that we did. So maybe we can do this. But we will find out what exactly we can do in the next episode. It is a little late. I want to get some good old sleep. So we will, we'll end it here. It's not actually that late, but still, I would like to get some good rest. So you all have a wonderful day after watching this wonderful episode of Higurashi. Hopefully it's wonderful. If you think it is, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next episode as we continue to figure out what the fuck we can do with these fragments. Take it easy.